Hi, I'm Melissa. Before I dive into this crazy story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss this wild ride. So here's a bit about me. I'm a 38-year-old single mom, working hard as a paralegal to give my daughter, Allison, the best life possible. It's been just the two of us since my ex, Jack, decided that fatherhood wasn't for him when Allison was 5. Fast forward to now. Allison's 17 and the light of my life. She's smart, kind, and beautiful inside and out. When Allison told me about prom, I was over the moon. Mom, Tyler asked me to prom. She squealed after school one day. I hugged her tight and said, "That's amazing, sweetie. We need to find you the perfect dress." Little did I know, that dress would cause more drama than I ever imagined. You see, there's a catch to our little family. My ex-mother-in-law, Barbara, and my ex-sister-in-law, Karen, are still in our lives. Don't ask me why, it's complicated. Let's just say they're about as pleasant as a root canal without anesthesia. When Allison mentioned prom at our monthly family dinner, you should have seen their faces. Barbara pursed her lips. Prom? Isn't that a bit frivolous? Karen chimed in, "Yeah, shouldn't you be focusing on college applications?" I bit my tongue, but Allison, bless her heart, stood her ground. "I can do both, Aunt Karen. I'm excited about prom." The tension was thicker than Barbara's infamous meatloaf. Later, while dress shopping, Allison found this gorgeous blue gown that made her eyes sparkle. "Mom, it's perfect," she gushed. I checked the price tag and winced. It was steep. But seeing Allison's face, I knew it was worth it. "You're going to be the belle of the ball, sweetie," I said, swiping my credit card. When we showed Barbara and Karen the dress, their reactions were interesting. Barbara sniffed. "It's a bit revealing, don't you think?" Karen added, "And that color. It's not really your best, Allison." I saw Allison's face fall and felt my blood boil. "I think she looks beautiful," I said firmly. Over the next few weeks, Allison was all about prom prep. She and her friends were constantly chatting about corsages, limos, and after parties. But every time Barbara or Karen were around, they'd make these little digs. "You're not wearing heels, are you? You'll tower over poor Tyler," Karen would say. Or Barbara would chime in with, "I hope you're not planning on staying out too late. It's not ladylike." I tried to shield Allison from their negativity, but I could see it was getting to her. The night before prom, Allison was a bundle of nerves and excitement. We were doing last-minute prep. Nails, hair, the works. "Mom, what if something goes wrong?" Allison fretted. I squeezed her hand. "Nothing's going to go wrong. Tomorrow's going to be perfect." As I hung up Allison's dress, making sure it was wrinkle-free for tomorrow, I had no idea of the storm that was about to hit. Sometimes the people you think you can trust are the ones you should watch out for the most. I had to run to the store for some last-minute items. Hairspray, bobby pins, you know the drill. Barbara and Karen offered to come over and help Allison with some final preparations. "That's so nice of you," I said, surprised by their sudden enthusiasm. As I left, I saw them heading upstairs with Allison. I should have trusted my gut feeling that something was off, but I pushed it aside, wanting to believe they were finally coming around. Little did I know, that decision would lead to a night I'd never forget, and not in a good way. I rushed back from the store, excited to surprise Allison with her favorite snacks for our prom prep night. As I pulled into the driveway, I noticed Barbara and Karen's cars were still there. Weird. I thought they'd be gone by now. I quietly entered the house, hearing hushed voices, and was that the sound of scissors. My heart started racing as I crept up the stairs. Nothing could have prepared me for what I saw when I pushed open Allison's bedroom door. There, in the middle of the room, stood Barbara and Karen, scissors in hand, surrounded by blue fabric scraps. My daughter's beautiful prom dress lay in ruins on the bed. "What the hell are you doing?" I screamed, dropping the shopping bags. Barbara and Karen whirled around, faces pale. "Melissa, we were just," Karen stammered. "Just what?" "Destroying my daughter's dress. Have you lost your minds?" I was shaking with rage. Barbara stepped forward, chin raised defiantly. "We're doing what's best for Allison. That dress was inappropriate." "Inappropriate? It's a prom dress, not a stripper outfit." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Karen chimed in. "We were just trying to protect her reputation. You wouldn't understand." Suddenly, memories flooded back. The snide comments about my parenting, the accidental spills on Allison's favorite clothes, the times they'd conveniently forgotten to pick her up from school. It all made sense now. You've always been jealous, I realized aloud. You can't stand to see Allison happy. Barbara scoffed. Don't be ridiculous. We love Allison. Love? This isn't love. This is control and manipulation. I shot back. Just then, I heard a gasp from the doorway. Allison stood there, eyes wide with horror as she took in the scene. My dress, she whispered, tears welling up. I rushed to her side, pulling her into a hug. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. Allison broke down, sobbing. Why would they do this? Grandma, Aunt Karen, how could you? Barbara had the audacity to look offended. We were trying to help, dear. That dress was much too revealing. Get out, I growled, my voice low and dangerous. Get out of my house right now. Karen tried to protest, but we were just. Out, I roared, pointing to the door. As they scurried out, I turned my attention back to Allison, who was still crying. What am I going to do, Mom? Prom's tomorrow, and my dress is ruined. I held her tight, my mind racing. How was I going to fix this? The dress shops would all be closed by now. We'll figure something out, sweetie, I promise, I said, trying to sound more confident than I felt. As I comforted my heartbroken daughter, I knew one thing for certain. Barbara and Karen weren't going to get away with this. They'd finally gone too far, and it was time they faced the consequences of their actions. But first things first, I had a prom dress to magically produce in less than 24 hours. Talk about a mother's worst nightmare. As Allison finally drifted off to sleep, exhausted from crying, I sat at the kitchen table, my mind racing. This wasn't just about a ruined dress anymore. It was about years of manipulation and cruelty. I picked up my phone and dialed Jack, my ex. We need to talk. It's about Allison. 30 minutes later, Jack was at my door, looking concerned. What's going on, Melissa? I filled him in on everything, and his face grew darker with each word. I can't believe my own mother and sister would do this, he said, shaking his head. Believe it. And it's not just this. Remember when Allison didn't get invited to Karen's kids' birthday parties? Or when Barbara accidentally spilled wine on her graduation dress? Jack's eyes widened. You think those were intentional? I know they were, and we're going to prove it. We spent the next few hours calling friends and family, piecing together a pattern of Barbara and Karen's behavior. The stories came pouring in. My friend Lisa chimed in. Remember when Barbara told everyone Allison cheated on that math test? I knew that wasn't true. Jack's cousin Tom added. Karen once told me Allison was spreading rumors about my daughter. I should have known better than to believe her. By morning, we had a list of incidents spanning years. It was time to call in the big guns. I reached out to my old college roommate Sarah, who was now a hotshot lawyer. Sarah, I need your help. We met at a cafe where I laid out everything we'd uncovered. Sarah whistled low. This is some serious stuff, Melissa. We're talking harassment, defamation, maybe even destruction of property with the dress incident. What can we do? I asked. Well, legally we could pursue charges, but given its family, there might be a better way to handle this. That's when the idea hit me. The annual family reunion was coming up in 2 weeks. Everyone would be there. Sarah, what if we expose them in front of the whole family? A slow smile spread across Sarah's face. Now that's an idea I can get behind. Let's plan this out. Over the next few days, while helping Allison prepare for prom, thank God for 24-hour tailors and my emergency credit card, we put our plan into motion. We gathered photos, screenshots of texts, and even security camera footage from my house showing Barbara and Karen with the destroyed dress. Jack reached out to extended family members, subtly ensuring everyone would attend the reunion. Lisa helped us create a slideshow of evidence, while Tom offered to be our tech guy at the reunion. We need to make sure they can't wiggle out of this, I said during one of our planning sessions. Sarah nodded. I've drafted a statement detailing their actions. We'll distribute it to everyone after the presentation. As the day approached, I felt a mix of nervousness and determination. Barbara and Karen had no idea what was coming. The night before the reunion, Allison asked, Mom, are you sure about this? It seems intense. I hugged her tight. Sweetie, sometimes you have to stand up to bullies, even when they're family, especially when they're family. When they're family. Jack chimed in, your mom's right, kiddo. What they did to you is not okay, and it's time everyone knew the truth. Allison nodded slowly. Okay, I trust you guys. As I laid out my outfit for the reunion, I took a deep breath. Tomorrow, everything would change. Barbara and Karen thought they could manipulate and hurt us without consequences. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Ready for tomorrow? Jack asked as he was leaving. I nodded, a determined glint in my eye. More than ready. It's time to end this once and for all. Let the showdown begin. The day of the family reunion arrived and my stomach was in knots. Allison, Jack, and I arrived early to set up our little presentation with Tom's help. As family members started trickling in, I could see Barbara and Karen, all smiles and hugs like nothing had happened. The sight made my blood boil. Once everyone had arrived, I stood up and cleared my throat. Everyone, if I could have your attention, please. There's something important we need to discuss. Barbara looked confused. Melissa, dear, what's this about? I took a deep breath. It's about the years of manipulation, lies, and cruelty that you and Karen have inflicted on Allison and our family. The room went dead silent. Tom hit the lights, and our slideshow began. Last week, Barbara and Karen destroyed Allison's prom dress. I said as the security footage played. Gasps filled the room. We went through incident after incident, the birthday party snubs, the ruined clothes, the vicious rumors. With each revelation, I could see the shock and disgust growing on everyone's faces. Karen jumped up. This is ridiculous. We've never done anything to hurt Allison. But her protest fell flat as more family members started speaking up. Cousin Rachel chimed in. So that's why you told me Allison couldn't make it to my wedding. You said she was sick. Uncle Steve added. And the time you said Allison was talking bad about my son. That was a lie too. Barbara and Karen's faces were pale, their eyes darting around the room, looking for allies. They found none. Sarah stepped forward, her lawyer mode in full swing. What you've done constitutes harassment and defamation, not to mention the destruction of property. We have grounds for legal action. Barbara scoffed. You wouldn't dare. We're family. I locked eyes with her. Family doesn't do what you've done. You've left us no choice. The fallout was immediate. Other family members started sharing their own stories of Barbara and Karen's manipulations. It was like a dam had broken. In the end, we didn't need to press charges. The family decided on their own to cut Barbara and Karen out. No more invitations, no more contact. Allison's prom night was a triumph. In her new dress, even more beautiful than the first, she was radiant. Mom, she said as she was leaving, thank you for everything. I hugged her tight, fighting back tears. Always, sweetie. I'll always have your back. Later that night, as I reflected on everything that had happened, I realized something important. Standing up to toxic people, even family, isn't easy. But it's necessary, for ourselves and for the people we love. And that's the end of Melissa and Allison's story. Now, I've got a question for you. Was Melissa justified in exposing Barbara and Karen's behavior to the entire family, or should she have handled the situation more privately? Is public confrontation ever the right approach when dealing with toxic family members? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective could help others facing similar family conflicts. If this story resonated with you and you want to hear more like it, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more of these real-life dramas to light. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Hi, my name is Valerie and I'm 29 years old. I've wanted to talk about this for a long time, but due to legal issues, I couldn't until now. Now that I can, I want to share my story as a warning to my mother-in-law. I don't want her to come near us again. Adrian and I met because of our mothers. His mother, Felicia, and my mother, Veronica, were old friends. One day, they met for coffee after many years and realized they both had single children. They decided to set us up, and a week later, Adrian and I found ourselves at the same coffee shop. Though it was a bit awkward that our mothers set us up, we quickly warmed up to each other. We found out we had a lot in common, like our love for action movies and pizza. We were so engrossed in our conversation that we didn't notice the time passing. As the sun began to set, we said goodbye but promised to meet again soon. The next week, we met for a newly released action movie and pizza. We continued to go on dates almost every week for the next 2 months. I found myself falling deeply in love with Adrian. He also fell in love with me, which I could tell because his face would light up every time he saw me. He paid close attention to everything I said, and if I mentioned something I wanted, he would often surprise me with it on our next date. I loved his sense of humor, how attentive he was, and how much he cared for me. Because of this, I was the one to make the first move and ask him to be my boyfriend. He enthusiastically said yes. We officially introduced each other as a couple to our parents. Both our mothers were overjoyed and proud that they had brought us together. However, over time, I noticed a change in Felicia's behavior toward me. She became cold and distant, sometimes making snide remarks under her breath. When I asked her why she was behaving that way or why she said something rude, she always told me it was nothing or tried to convince me I was imagining things. This bothered me a lot, and one day, I spoke to Adrian about it. He got angry and promised to make sure his mother treated me properly. I was grateful for that. I knew how much Adrian loved his mother, but the fact that he would stand up for me against her made me incredibly happy. I don't know what Adrian said to his mother, but after that, Felicia treated me like she used to before her behavior changed. I was grateful and enjoyed the stress-free time. Adrian and I dated for 2 years before deciding to get married. Our wedding was a small and intimate ceremony with only our closest friends and family present. Shortly after we got married, tragedy struck. Adrian's mother, Felicia, had her house burned down due to faulty electrical wiring. Thankfully, she was safe. Felicia was alright and unharmed as she had been out when the house caught fire. Since she had no place to stay, we opened our home to her. She lived with us for the next year. During that year, Adrian and I experienced great success in our careers. We were in a good place to start a family and decided to try. Within 2 months, I got pregnant. Adrian and I were overjoyed. We had always talked about being parents, and the fact that our dream was coming true made us feel really good. However, our joy slowly started to fade as Felicia gradually became more controlling. I suffered from a lot of morning sickness and cramping. My legs got swollen, making it hard to do household chores because all my energy was spent at work. Felicia couldn't stand this. She would yell at me to do her work. One day, I came home early from work because I was in too much pain. I lay down on the bed and took a short nap. But I was rudely awakened a little while later by Felicia. She began yelling at me for not having done her laundry. Disoriented from being woken up, I asked Felicia what she was talking about. "Valerie, why didn't you do the laundry today? Now I have nothing to wear." "Wait, what? Why didn't you do your own laundry?" "It's not my responsibility." "It's your responsibility as the host to take care of that." "I'm literally in so much pain right now. Are you trying to start a fight about this?" "Oh, come on. You're just making a big deal out of it. Pregnancy isn't that bad. You're exaggerating for attention. You have no idea what I'm going through. It's not easy for me to manage work and house chores when I'm feeling so unwell." "That's not my problem. I was pregnant once too, and I never experienced all this." "Get out. Get out. Get out of the room. Get out of the house. Get out of my life. How dare you talk to me like I'm faking everything? Who are you? Can you feel what I'm feeling? Get out." Felicia looked scared and quickly left the room. I couldn't believe her audacity. How dare she try to tell me my pain wasn't real? What would I gain from faking my pain? At the same time, I was yelling at Felicia. Adrian had come home from work. He worriedly ran upstairs to check on me and saw his mother hurry out of the room in fear. He walked into our room carefully and saw me crying hysterically on the bed. He quickly sat down next to me and hugged me, letting me cry for a while before asking why I was crying. I recounted everything that had happened with Felicia and how she had been constantly yelling at me whenever I didn't do the house chores. Adrian got really angry and stood up to talk to his mother, but I stopped him. He saw my pleading face and calmed down. "Why didn't you tell me earlier? I knew how upset you'd get. I didn't want you to end up evicting your mother, causing more tension between you two. I felt sorry for her, so I kept it to myself." "Babe, I understand why you did that, but I should have known what was going on. I want you to share everything with me, especially when it's affecting you like this." "I'm sorry, darling. I should have told you, but I didn't want to cause more problems. You never have to bear these things alone. We're a team, remember? I promise you I'll talk to my mother calmly about her behavior, and I want you to be there with me for that conversation." Together, we walked into Felicia's room. I was nervous about what Adrian was going to do. I know that he gets very protective of me, and his temper isn't the best. While I was hurt, I hoped he wouldn't do something he regretted. Felicia looked surprised and asked why we were in her room. "Why are you both in my room? What's going on?" "Enough with the act. Valerie told me everything. You've been constantly yelling at her about the household chores. Well, she should be doing them. After all, I'm just a guest here, right? You could have either done them yourself or waited for me to do them. You didn't need to bother Valerie like that. It's a woman's job to handle household chores. You would never catch me asking you for help with these kinds of tasks. I don't care about your beliefs. It's my house, my rules. I'm your mother. You can't tell me what to do. This is my home, and if you can't respect that, then maybe it's time you find another place to live. You can't do that. I have nowhere else to go. The only reason I haven't evicted you already is because Valerie asked me not to, but if you cross the line again, I won't hesitate. I promise I won't do it again. Just please don't kick me out. You need to change, Mom. Treat Valerie with respect like the family she is to us. All right. The rest of my pregnancy went relatively smoothly. My symptoms eased as I progressed further along. Finally, I gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Adrian and I were overjoyed to welcome our precious daughter into our family. We named her Ava. I stayed in the hospital for 2 more days after giving birth. On the 3rd day, Adrian picked us up from the hospital before he left for work and dropped us home. Felicia warmly greeted the 3 of us. Oh, look at my precious granddaughter. You've done such a wonderful job, Valerie. She's the most beautiful bundle of joy. Thank you, Felicia. It means a lot coming from you. Valerie needs some rest now, Mom. She just gave birth, and Ava kept her up through the night. Don't worry, I'll take care of the baby. You go and get some rest, Valerie. I don't want to be away from Ava so soon. Trust me, you'll need this rest soon enough. Mom will take good care of her. You rest, dear. I'll be here to look after Ava. All right, but just for a couple of hours. Then I'll take over. That sounds fair. You rest now, and I'll do the same later. Thank you, Mom. With that, Adrian left for work. I went to sleep, and Felicia looked after Ava. I woke up 2 hours later to Ava crying loudly. I got worried and went to check on what was going on. The sound of Ava crying was coming from Felicia's room. I didn't know what was happening, whether Felicia was purposely ignoring my daughter or if she was somehow sleeping through the loud noise. I knocked on Felicia's door but got no response. I tried to open the door, but it was locked. Panic started to set in. I began banging on the door and yelling for Felicia to open it. After 2 minutes, she finally opened the door just enough for me to see a portion of her face. Felicia, what are you doing? Let me see Ava. I'm just trying to teach you a lesson. You can't rely on Adrian for everything. You need to take responsibility for your duties around the house. This is not the way to teach a lesson. Give me my child right now. Complete your chores, and then you can have Ava back. It's time you learn to handle your responsibilities. What is wrong with you? Remember, the longer you take to complete the chores, the longer your child goes hungry. Fear replaced the anger in me. I was ready to do anything that Felicia asked as long as Ava was safe. I couldn't understand why she was being so cruel to me right after I had given birth, but I didn't have the luxury of arguing about it. I needed my baby fed and safe. I asked Felicia what needed to be done. Felicia told me there was a pile of dishes to be washed, the house needed to be vacuumed because it had gotten dusty, and the common bathroom had to be scrubbed clean. She also said I had to finish everything before Adrian came back and that I couldn't tell him anything about it. Otherwise, she would make things worse for me. I nodded through my sobs and left to complete the chores. I sobbed because I was still in pain, but I knew I had no choice. I spent the next couple of hours toiling away to make the house clean for Felicia. I had to take a few painkillers to stop me from fainting from pain and exhaustion. I also had to be careful not to strain my stitches and tear them. All in all, I was having a tough time and kept crying as I did the chores. I wanted to tell Adrian because this was beyond cruel, but I was scared about what Felicia might do to Ava. I was glad that Felicia had managed to get Ava to stop crying, but I was still scared about what the future held for us. I just wished there was some way out of this. The universe heard my wish and did more than I had hoped for. That day, Adrian arrived home 2 hours early to surprise Ava and me. When he walked into the house, he couldn't find me anywhere. He saw the light in the common bathroom switched on and walked in to see me on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor while sobbing. Adrian rushed over to me and asked why I was overexerting myself like this. At the sight of him, I started sobbing harder. Adrian panicked and pulled me into his arms, gently stroking my hair as he waited for me to calm down. When I did, I told him about what Felicia had done. Adrian was seething, and unlike last time, I didn't stop him. Adrian banged on Felicia's door and demanded she open up. Felicia opened the door and looked at him in surprise. Adrian, how come you came home early? Did you forget something? I didn't forget anything. I came home early because I wanted to surprise Ava and see my family, but instead, I found you trying to teach my wife a lesson in the worst possible way. Oh, come on. I was just trying to help her be a better wife and mother. She needs to learn to handle her responsibilities. Help? That was no help. It was cruel and heartless. How could you treat her like that? She needs to learn. It's for her own good. For her own good. Look at our child. You had no right to involve her in your twisted lessons. She's just a baby. I know what's best for everyone, including you. Valerie needs to change. No, you need to change. I won't let you hurt my family anymore. We're done. I want you out of our lives. Adrian, you can't be serious. I thought you cared about me. I did care about you once, but not anymore. You've crossed the line, and I won't tolerate it. I will make you pay. Adrian, please. I didn't mean for this to happen. It's too late for apologies. You need to face the consequences of your actions. He silently walked out of her room and handed Ava to me. I cried tears of joy. I knew you had to be some kind of monster to torment an innocent child like that. Anger swirled within me, and I wanted to make Felicia pay. I asked Adrian what he had done to Felicia. I'm going to file a lawsuit against her. She endangered our child and harassed you. I will make sure she pays dearly for it, Adrian declared. But Adrian, fighting a lawsuit, isn't it too much? You and Ava are my world. Nothing is too much if anyone hurts either of you. She had no right to treat you like that. Thank you for standing up for us. I can't believe she would go to such lengths to get her way. I don't know what I would have done without you here. It was terrifying. From now on, you and Ava will be safe. I won't allow anyone to harm you ever again. True to his word, Adrian filed the lawsuit. A couple of days later, Felicia was served with court summons. Felicia was shocked and asked Adrian what the summons was for. You endangered my child and harassed my wife after she gave birth. I had to file this lawsuit to hold you accountable for your actions, Adrian said firmly. Adrian, please. I didn't mean to cause harm. I was just trying to help. Your idea of help is twisted. You crossed the line, and now you have to face the consequences. We're family. You can't do this to me. Family doesn't give people the right to hurt others. You hurt Valerie and traumatized Ava. I won't stand for it. Please, I'll change. I promise I won't interfere anymore. It's too late for promises. You have no evidence against me. How will you prove it? I installed baby cameras everywhere the night before Valerie got home from the hospital. I've got more than enough evidence of you hurting my family. Adrian, I beg you don't do this. I'll do anything to make it right. You had your chance to be better. Now you must face the truth. You broke my trust, and I won't let you hurt my family any longer. In the months that followed, things moved quickly in court. Felicia was charged with a misdemeanor and sentenced to 6 months in jail plus an $800 fine. When the judge announced the sentence, Felicia broke down and started wailing in the courtroom. Adrian didn't seem to care about her tears and instead looked satisfied that she got what she deserved. As I watched Felicia get escorted out of the courtroom in handcuffs, I couldn't help but feel relieved. I knew that for at least the next 6 months, my family and I would be free of Felicia's toxic behavior. Meanwhile, Adrian and I focused on raising our newborn daughter Ava and didn't let Felicia's actions define us. We found strength in each other and the support of our friends and loved ones. While Felicia was in jail, she had time to think about what she had done. At the same time, Adrian and I worked on healing from the hurt she caused. I couldn't fully forgive her, but I knew it was important to move forward for our own sake and our families. Felicia finished her jail time and sought counseling to make amends for her actions. I wanted to believe she could change, but I remained cautious and never let her come close to us again. One time she tried, and I threatened to get a restraining order. Our lives gradually got back to normal. The pain Felicia caused was still there, but we focused on building a better future for our family and cherishing the happiness Ava brought into our lives.